Imagine a teaching so powerful it requires no translation. The three laughing monks mastered this. They understood that laughter is a universal language that can bridge any divide. Their method was to simply be present and radiate an undeniable joy that others could not help but join. This approach bypassed dogma and spoke directly to the heart. The story explores how this simple act became their most powerful tool for creating harmony and offers a timeless lesson on how we can use our own emotional state to influence our world for the better.
One day, the three monks arrived at a new village. They did not come as lecturers or teachers. They came as silent presences. They carried no sacred texts and built no altars. They offered no sermons to the people who gathered. The villagers were accustomed to spiritual men who spoke of complex doctrines. They expected a certain kind of performance. The monks gave them nothing but their quiet company. This silence created a vacuum. It was an empty space where expectation normally lived. The people felt confused by this absence of the usual theatrics. They did not know how to react to men who said nothing. Into that quiet space, the monks introduced their only practice. It began as a soft sound, a gentle chuckle that seemed to come from deep within. This chuckle grew into a full and unrestrained laugh. It was a laugh that shook their entire bodies. The laughter was not directed at anyone in the crowd. It was not a joke at someone's expense. It was a pure expression of their own state of being. It was joy for the sake of joy itself. This was the monks' first and most important lesson. They showed that wisdom does not always need words to be understood. A profound teaching can exist without a single syllable being spoken. The villagers watched and listened. They saw three men who were completely free in that moment. Their laughter was a language that required no translation. It bypassed the intellect and spoke directly to the human spirit. The monks demonstrated that spiritual communication is not limited to speech. Their entire presence became a form of instruction. By choosing silence, they broke the pattern of what was expected. They created an opening for a different kind of understanding to enter. This understanding was not based on concepts or beliefs. It was based on a shared feeling, a direct experience of a joyful state. The villagers began to see that the monks were not withholding knowledge. They were offering a different kind of knowledge altogether. This knowledge was felt in the body before it was understood by the mind. The silent arrival was a preparation for the transformation that would follow.
The monks' laughter was not an isolated act. It was a seed planted in fertile ground. One person standing at the edge of the crowd would hear the sound. Despite their initial confusion or even resistance, they would feel a smile creep onto their face. It was an involuntary reaction, a physical response to the genuine joy they witnessed. Soon, another person would join. Their own laughter, perhaps hesitant at first, would mingle with the first. This created a ripple effect that moved through the crowd like a wave. It started small and then grew in strength and volume as it spread. Shopkeepers paused their haggling with customers. Farmers in nearby fields looked up from their work, their hands still holding tools. Children stopped their games and turned their heads toward the sound. The laughter reached everyone, regardless of their task or social standing. In that shared moment, the invisible barriers of social status and personal worry began to dissolve. A wealthy merchant and a poor laborer found themselves laughing together. A person burdened by debt and a carefree child experienced the same release. The distinctions that normally separated them lost their meaning. The entire village experienced a sudden collective release. It was a pause from the weight of daily life and the complexity of doctrines. For a few minutes, there were no arguments about right belief or proper conduct. There was only the simple, unifying experience of shared feeling. Conflict and dogma lost their power in the face of such genuine, communal joy. The monks did not ask anyone to agree with the philosophy or change their behavior. They simply created an atmosphere where joy could flourish naturally. People found themselves connected not by shared ideas, but by a shared emotional state. The monks demonstrated that harmony is not built through intellectual agreement. It is built through shared feeling. When people laugh together from a place of authenticity, they remember their common humanity. They remember that beneath all the roles and rules, they are all part of the same community. This experience of unity, however brief, left a lasting impression on the villagers long after the monks had moved on.
For these monks, laughter was not a frivolous distraction. It was their only prayer. This was a different kind of devotion. It contained no supplication. They did not ask the divine for favors or protection. They did not plead for forgiveness or blessings. Their laughter was instead an offering. It was a pure expression of gratitude for the simple fact of existence. This laughter celebrated what they saw as the cosmic joke. The profound absurdity and the stunning beauty of being a conscious being in a vast, mysterious universe were acknowledged in a single breath. They found humor in the sheer unlikeliness of life itself. By laughing, they were aligning themselves with what they perceived as the fundamental joyful nature of reality. They believed the universe was not a serious place of punishment and reward, but a playful expression of joy. Their practice required no temple or sacred text. The whole world became their sanctuary. A field was as holy as a cathedral. A village square was as consecrated as any altar. Every laugh was an affirmation. It was a full and unconditional yes to life in its entirety. They did not laugh only when things were easy. Their joy was not dependent on external conditions. It came from a deep, internal well that remained untouched by circumstance. This was their most profound spiritual achievement. They taught that the most powerful state one can attain is one of unconditioned happiness. This is a happiness that is not caused by anything. It does not come from getting what you want. It is a baseline state of contentment that exists prior to any event. It is a fundamental yes to the experience of being alive, with all its twists and turns. This perspective reframed the very purpose of spiritual practice. The goal was not to earn a place in a heavenly afterlife. The goal was to realize the heaven that is available in every moment through a heart full of gratitude and a spirit that can laugh. Their prayer was not about changing their reality, but about fully embracing it. They showed that devotion can be a state of being, not a list of requests.
Then the story reached its pivotal moment. The three monks traveled to a northern province, and there, one of them died. The villagers gathered around the body, their faces etched with the expectation of sorrow. They prepared themselves to witness the traditional rituals of mourning. They thought they would see tears and hear chants for the dead. They stood ready to offer comfort to the two remaining monks, assuming they would be consumed by grief. But the monks did not weep. They did not chant. They stood beside their departed friend and looked at his peaceful face. And then they began to laugh. It was not a quiet chuckle this time. It was an immense, roaring laughter that seemed to fill the entire village. The sound was not disrespectful or mocking. It was filled with a profound and complete acceptance of what had happened. This reaction shattered the villagers' understanding of death. It broke the script they had always followed for such an event. They were confronted with a radical question that had never occurred to them. Could loss be met with something other than grief? Was sadness the only valid response to the end of a life? The monks were not denying the reality of death. They saw their friend's still body as clearly as anyone else. Instead, they were reframing humanity's relationship to this universal experience. They acted from a place that did not see death as a tragedy to be mourned, but as a natural transition to be accepted. Their laughter was a testament to a life fully lived in joy, a life that ended as it had been conducted. They showed that true freedom lies not in avoiding painful events, but in releasing our attachment to the emotional scripts we believe we must follow. Society often dictates that death requires sorrow. The monks demonstrated that another path exists. By choosing joy in the face of what most fear, they exhibited a mastery over their inner world. They proved that our emotional responses are not predetermined by events, but are choices we make. Their laughter was the ultimate expression of a spirit that had become so free it could greet even its greatest adversary with a light heart and a sound of celebration. This was their final and perhaps most challenging lesson for the villagers to understand.
The two surviving monks then revealed a pact they had made long ago. They had a simple bet among themselves on who would die first. They treated the subject of their own mortality with a light-hearted curiosity, not with fear. The monk who had passed was the winner of this unusual wager. He had left a very specific final request. He asked to be cremated without his clothes being changed. He stated plainly that he had never been filthy for one day. He explained that he never allowed any of the filth of this world to reach him through his laughter. He saw worldly attachments and negative emotions as a kind of dirt that could stain the spirit. His lifelong practice of joy was his method of staying clean. The villagers built a funeral pyre and placed the monk's body upon it, still dressed in his simple, travel-worn robes. They lit the wood, and the flames began to rise. The crowd watched in silence, their eyes fixed on the fire. They expected to see the robes burn away first, as cloth is quick to catch flame. But something remarkable happened. The flames consumed the body, yet the monk's clothes remained completely untouched. The fire licked around the fabric, but did not blacken it. The robes stayed intact, a visual paradox that defied the natural order. The villagers watched in awe, unable to explain what they were seeing. This spectacle was not a miracle of magic, it was a testament. It served as the monk's final silent teaching on the power of detachment. The untouched clothing symbolized a spirit that had achieved such profound inner freedom that not even the elemental force of fire could mark it with worldly concerns. He had lived a life so disciplined in its inner purity that his final act demonstrated the result. The event was a powerful demonstration of non-attachment through action. Instead of speaking about being free from the world, he showed it. He left a tangible lesson that transcended any words he could have spoken. The image of the pristine robes amid the flames was an unforgettable illustration of a life lived without internal conflict, a spirit that had truly remained unsoiled by the journey.
As the fire reached its peak, a burst of colorful fireworks unexpectedly filled the evening sky. It remains unclear if this was a planned part of the ceremony or a spontaneous act from the villagers who were so moved by the event. The brilliant colors erupted above the crackling flames, creating a spectacle that merged the earthly with the celestial. In that single instant, the elements of the moment became one unified experience. The heat from the pyre, the vibrant colors painting the dark sky, and the sound of rising laughter all blended together. The two surviving monks looked up at the fireworks, and their laughter grew even stronger. It was a sound of pure affirmation. The entire crowd of villagers who had gathered for a funeral found themselves joining in. Their laughter mingled with that of the monks. Individual voices merged into a single communal sound that rose toward the fireworks. The initial shock and confusion they felt gave way to a shared sense of release. Death, which they had expected to be an ending, became a catalyst for a collective awakening right there by the fire. The fireworks represented the brilliant yet fleeting beauty of a single life. Each burst was magnificent for a moment and then faded, much like a human lifetime. The shared laughter became the enduring connection that not even death could sever. It was the sound of a community recognizing that the spirit of their friend was not gone, but celebrated in this collective joy. The moment dissolved the usual separations people hold in their minds. The sacred act of a funeral and the profane beauty of a fireworks display were no longer opposites. The feeling of joy and the context of sorrow existed together without conflict. The villagers experienced a radical shift in their understanding. The monks' legacy was cemented in that field. They had demonstrated a direct path to peace. It was not a path of denying difficult realities, but of embracing life's totality. They showed that true spiritual freedom comes from holding both the joy and the sorrow, the beginning and the end, with the same open heart. The fireworks were the exclamation point on a life lived as a continuous yes.
You see, in life, in your life, the story offers a simple tool. When you face a problem, go and look in the mirror. Then just laugh. You are invited to see your own struggles as part of the cosmic joke. They are not a sign of personal failure. This practice is a way to find balance. It is a form of self-compassion. The monk said he never allowed any of the filth of this world to reach him through his laughter. This is how you let life reward you with inner peace. Find the balance, and life will reward you.